we're going to figure out what kind of train wreck this is going to be.
2. She didn't say 1.
Never say 1.
What?
No.
Oh.
Ever.
Well, fuck that.
Because 1 is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
Good Beatles drop. I love it.
So
nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've already done a little drinking.
Yeah, a little bit.
And now we're here to talk about gaming.
Little talking, little drinking, little smoking.
So that
cigars.
Yeah. Which means it can only be time to get Warhammered.
Warhammered.
Yeah. So this is the Warhammered podcast. Warhammered podcast.
Yeah, I was watching a lot of Ted Lasso. I might slip into an English accent.
Brought to you by Second Pitch Beer Company and BattlePub Games.
Yeah.
I'm
Happy
Jazz.
to be here. Yeah.
That's Beer Jim.
Hey guys.
Typically we have a big Jim.
He is on assignment today.
He's off doing freedom things.
So my my baseball team, the San Francisco Giants, who I follow, their announcers, whenever they're like on vacation or not doing it, they would just like, he's on assignment tonight. Just because that's what they always say. So that's what Big Jim, he's on assignment.
On assignment. So you're stuck with just the two of us today, but that's okay.
Yep.
We're
Promise no close-ups this time.
Yeah, we're gonna treat you right anyways. And no close-ups.
Yeah,
for the one person that was upset by the close-up.
Who did that, I was just like, no, you don't get to see every nook and cranny of my face.
Yeah, we also did that because Beer Jim didn't know we were doing it, and it just made it funny.
Oh, it's hilarious. So, I was watching it, and I was just like, what are you guys doing right now?
It was great.
It was good. It was good content.
It was great.
It was good content.
So anyways, this is the Warhammer podcast. We talk about a lot of Warhammer, other nerd stuff.
Yep.
But at a very
wave top level.
And I'm not even promising you accuracy.
No.
This is definitely a I read something about it one time.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually excited about this show because it's going to be more of like
good topic.
It's a good topic, and it's going to be more about just like the general feel of the game of Warhammer and helping you guys, if you're interested in getting into the hobby, which a lot of you guys are. This is a great way to pick. This is a good primer of picking your army.
And we've had a lot of comments about like they found the show, like the show, weren't ever interested in Warhammer, like listening to it. So we're hoping that we're going to provide you some analogs from Warhammer to other things that you might know to maybe give you a starting point of where to go dig in.
Yeah.
So,
which is how everybody really gets into it. And that's how I did. People like somebody sat me down and be like, all right,
they
this
got
guy
me
is these guys. Yep. These guys are these guys. And you're like, oh, okay, I got you.
So we're going to do that. And you're going to listen to it, and that's what you're getting this week. So I don't know what to say.
It's good.
But before that.
What?
Before that.
Okay.
We're going to do the only thing on this show that's probably accurate.
Most likely.
And that is Jim's Beer Corner. There it is. It's the best theme music in radio.
I know right now. Hey, Caitlin, are you mic'd up today?
I can't be.
Nice. Get mic'd up.
Get mic'd up.
Get mic'd up. I love the drop-in set. We were like, nope, that's not right.
Yeah, we got to turn our producer's mic on. She's got to figure out which one it is.
Yeah, because it's always nice when we hear that. But anyway, so on to Jim's Beer Corner. We are going to be talking about a very specific style of beer called the Double IPA.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm here.
You're here?
Yeah.
Love to see you. Thank you.
Just for you, I like to refer to these as dippas.
I love Dippa. So did I tell you that story about my friend from Sweden?
Does he like heffies?
No. So what happened was I used to live in Sweden for about a year and a half, and a friend of mine came to visit me.
Because you were there actually studying beer.
Yes.
That's like why you were there.
Well, I was studying political science, but then
through beer.
Political science, and then it just became like, no, I'm studying beer now. Yeah. I changed my major, and I didn't let the college know.
Nice.
You know. And then when I graduated at the end of the year, I was just like, oh shit, I actually graduated because I didn't do shit. But so he came to the States, and he was like, oh, I really like IPAs. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that is. And he was like, yeah, IPAs. We're big into IPAs in Sweden. So we went to a beer bar, and he was like, yeah, I'll take this IPA. And I'll be like, you fucking mean an IPA?
In all fairness, nobody ever publishes them with the fucking periods.
Yeah. No, nobody does.
It's just capital I, capital P, capital A.
Yeah.
All next to each other.
So he was like, they 100% thought, and he worked with me at a beer bar, and they 100% thought it was just called an IPA. And I was just like.
And today, in tradition of the Swedes, we're going to drink a Dippa.
A Dippa. a double India Pale Ale. And so this style is really an American style. So we had IPAs, and their genesis is from England, shipping beer to India, so that they made a hoppier beer, something that could last over in India, the travel over there, the shipment over there, and then also
So
something
it
that
was
was good for
essentially a preservative.
preservative,
That
but
was
also it was a flavor component too. It was
right
like a new
because it's gonna go
flavor.
sour. So let's put some bitter in it so
So
that
let's
it
put some
kind of
bitter.
balances it out.
Well,
Yeah.
the hops have a natural preservative to
Yeah.
them too. So they made these IPAs. The original IPAs were more bitter, and then it became a thing that people just actually started liking. So like most things, it was both for like a real purpose to do it. Then it became more of a idea and a flavor, and then we've taken it to the hundredth
Right.
degree.
Started as a necessity.
Started as a necessity, then it became it became a function, not a bug, or what is it called? Of
Well,
what
it's form following function.
Yeah, form following function.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say.
I'm with you.
Mhm. So anyway, Dippas are an American Dippas, double IPAs.
Some beer nerd is gonna hear this and just be like, "I'm never listening to anything these
I know,
people say
right?
again."
We know it's not called a Dippa.
It's a
Fuck
fucking
off.
beer. I like.
Yeah. It's
Hold on,
fine.
I like Dippa more.
I like Dippa more.
Yeah.
Dippa-palooza is coming up at second pitch too.
That's. I'm going to that.
Yeah.
I like just
Just gonna go.
cause. Yeah.
Oh, if you want
But-
to, you can come. You can be on a tasting panel if you want to.
Oh.
You want to be on a tasting panel?
Dude, can I just come and be professionally ripped? That's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, it's be on the 6th. You guys can come.
It's on the
I'll throw you
6th?
on the 6th.
May the 6th, right?
May the 6th. Saturday. It's gonna be in the morning.
No, that's good.
We're good?
I don't think we have anything basic.
Yeah, come by. Yeah.
Oh
we're
no,
good.
we don't have any May 6th. It's only the Alamo GT, the largest 40K GT in Texas, and a golden ticket tournament for the world championship.
I don't think you guys should come.
I don't.
Yeah,
My-
it's gonna be in the morning. So if you guys are gonna be here in the afternoon. So
uh,
anyway, we'll talk about that offline. Anyway, so
the Dippa.
Dip Up, double IPAs. So they just are basically the idea of a double is the exact same idea as like an imperial IPA. You see imperial sometimes, you see double sometimes. They're pretty much the same exact idea. And it basically is you just increase the hop amount, you increase the ABV.
Sure.
So that's what it is. You're getting more hop flavoring and it's more alcohol to it.
And I the big break on this, and specifically what we're having is actually a seasonal double IPA.
Yeah.
This isn't a whatever,
And
mass production.
And we can call it out. I'm like, it's
Whatever you wanna call it.
Independence, Mosaic,
It's the Mosaic Highboy.
Mosaic Highboy.
Which is a double IPA.
Mhm.
But they do these. This is like the 4th or 5th version of this I've carried from them.
Mhm.
But this one is the Mosaic, which is
A specific type of hop.
It's a
Mosaic
hop
is
varietal.
It's a hop varietal.
Yeah.
And so what I assume that they did, I didn't read much on the research on there, but I assume if they're calling out Mosaic, it's going to be more of a single hop or as much to a single hop as they can do.
it is. So I talked to them about it because we carry it here in the bar
Mhm.
here. Obviously you don't carry it in your bar because it's all your stuff.
Yeah,
So, but we're all friends.
Yeah,
Like
we're all
everybody
friends.
knows
Like,
everybody.
it's
So,
great. Yeah, no.
so when I was talking to them about this, it's the same methodology they use for like their standard highboy or their other seasonals,
Mhm.
which is always a double IPA.
Yep.
They always target a particular ABV, so they all come in at the same ABV. But on the seasonal stuff, it's the methodology of the double hopping for an IPA.
Mhm.
But with this, instead of using like 2 different ones, or we had one that had 4 different
Yeah.
hops in it,
They used a single hop.
this is a single Mosaic hop.
Mhm.
And then it was the methodology of making a double IPA.
And single hop beers are a lot of fun if you find them because you can really dive down into that flavor profile of that singular hop. And this one has Mosaic, which is one of the most popular hops now. It has been.
It is so grapefruity.
It's so grapefruity. It is. You get a lot of grapefruit. You got a lot of like grapefruit rind.
Yeah.
You get pith a lot of it, and then you also get a very strong. With Mosaic, you get a strong like kind of undercurrent of like mango, like really, really ripe mango, where it's almost a little bit of a funk to it. Mango.
Yeah. So I think, but it's almost all on the finish.
Mhm.
So for me at least,
Yeah.
on the initial drink, it's just like on the nose and on the initial drink, it is just all grapefruit.
Yeah.
I mean, just like
Grapefruit.
you bit into a grapefruit.
Mhm.
And then it does go into the grapefruit rind, where
Mhm.
that's grapefruit flavor, but it's bitter,
More
like it's
bitter.
sour.
Yeah, it's pith. Yeah, pith.
Yeah, that pith flavor, or if you don't clean your citrus right and you've got all that white shit
Exactly. And
everywhere.
that's what pith is. Yeah.
It's got that flavor. But then on the end there is that
Funky.
that
Like
funky. If you've ever had like dried out mango,
Mhm,
like where they literally almost because
mhm.
dried fruit is essentially distilled fruit. All the water comes out, and you
Yeah.
just have the fruit flavor.
I once worked with a brewer who was the head brewer for Almanac, and they had a IPA that was fantastic. That was a Mosaic IPA for a long time. It was my favorite IPA, and he always described Mosaic as being like beach goer arm sweat. So you
Yeah, I
have
could
like
see that.
you get a little bit of muskiness. You get a lot of the tropical fruits from
Yeah,
like
it's
your
it's almost like
sunscreen.
it's
You know,
almost. I know this is really making you want to go drink this fucking
but
beer,
no, it does. But it's
but
really good.
it's really really good. But it's almost. You know how the smell of banana boat is like that would be
Hmm.
pleasant if it wasn't so fucking strong.
Exactly. That's
It's
exactly what I was
that,
going with.
right?
Yes.
So, but this doesn't go to the point of it's unpleasant, but
Yeah.
it is
Fair.
not just sweet. It
Yeah.
is it is a very balanced out. Now,
It's a
we've talked about
beautiful
this on
hop.
the show.
Beautiful hop.
I do not like IPAs.
Yeah, I know that.
I'm not an IPA drinker. I can drink hazy IPAs, which we've talked about,
Mhm.
and why they are so different and probably why I can drink them.
Yeah.
I can drink this, and I
Yeah.
think it's because of the mosaic.
Yeah.
And it's because it's more on that fruit
Mhm.
side of it than that. Because for me, IPAs is just that fucking, those little tree air fresheners that
Exactly.
everybody had in their cars?
Yeah.
That's all IPAs taste like to me.
And
It's
that
like you
was
getting that fucking Honda Civic that's got 17 of those little tree air fresheners hanging from the fucking rearview mirror.
Yep.
That's all it is to me.
Yep.
And it's just like,
You're 100% right.
why is, what are you trying to cover? Like,
Well,
what
that's
flavor did we put in here so strong that we're trying to
that
cover?
is traditional IPAs.
That's awful.
As they call them, as it's called in the business, the C IPAs. So there's certain hops that start with the C, the letter C: Columbus, Cascade, Citra, and Centennial.
Okay, so it's not C word IPAs. It's just
Well, you use those four different hops.
you're gonna get it in a minute. It's gonna be great.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I'm gonna keep on going until it hits me. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then with those IPAs, you get a lot of that like bitter flavor to it, and that's what you don't like.
So I don't like kippas.
Kippas, yes.
But
I don't like the kippas. I like the dippas.
I
Or
like
the
the dippas though.
or the hippas.
Yeah, maybe if it's a good mosaic, I'll drink a MIPA. But other
A
than that,
mippa, hippa, dippa, fuck kippa.
no, we can't discuss HIPAA. That's
Yeah,
like a
no.
totally. That's
Hippas are not allowed to be discussed.
those
on
are
there.
not allowed to be discussed, and nobody understands it anyway.
Yeah,
so
no,
so we're
it's
just gonna leave it alone.
Oh, I have an idea.
Oh
Uh-oh.
god.
It's a beer idea
Cool.
for a name.
Awesome.
I love the name HIPAA,
Mhm.
but like a hometown lager IPA, you just call it the HIPAA,
That doesn't. Does that?
We are doing something like that coming up.
like a hometown IPA.
We are doing an IPL will be our next seasonal release, which is an Indian Pale Lager.
nipple,
So Ipple,
nipple.
nipple.
It's an India Pale.
Lager. So we're going to be using the same yeast that we use for our hometown lager, and we're making an IPA out of it with very fruit forward hops.
So you're making the HIPAA.
I'm making a HIPAA.
You're fucking me up. You said,
No, HIPAAs are hazy.
but you said that yeast determines
Who's
what
on
kind
first?
But you told me yeast determines the type of beer.
Yes. So this is a lager.
But you just said it's an IPA.
No, I said it's an IPL.
I fucking hate you.
It's going to be an IPL.
This,
Is our
this
next
is all
Ooh,
awful.
when is that coming up though?
we're looking for June.
Okay, so
So
that's
June.
our beer slot in June to talk
Yeah.
about
So-
what an IPL is.
So it's
Yeah.
a hometown
So we're using,
IPL.
no. We're using the yeast, the lager yeast we use for a hometown lager. We're
Right.
taking that special little
Right.
piece of yeast.
So it's the hometown yeast,
put into
an
a
IPL.
beer, an IPL
An IPA styled beer, but made with the yeast
from
from
a lager,
the hometown.
which is the lager.
So it's a hometown IP.
So it's not a home. It's the lager yeast. It's the lager yeast.
I know, but you could call it the hip replacement.
We already called it. We're calling it Party at the Neighbors. And the thing is like it's gonna be like the visual. It's gonna be somebody like jumping over the fence using your neighbor's pool when they're not there, which we thought was really funny.
I like it.
I like it. Yeah.
For a
I
summer
like it.
beer, I like it.
I
That's
told
what I
him.
reminded.
I told him I want to make a beer called "I Want to Be Inside You."
Crisis Part 2.
He already said that. Yeah. What are you two like married or something like that?
Anyways, this is very, very good.
And it's a good and IPAs and double IPAs can be really, really good if they're balanced correctly. And that's what a brewer needs to do.
And I think that's the big problem I had with IPAs is when I started getting into craft beer, it was right in the middle of all of that
Yeah, the Stone IPAs that are just
the
like,
Hopsecutioner and
Yeah.
and it was just like, what's wrong with you?
yeah.
And I'm determined that all of those brewers that made all of those beers, here's what I figured out.
Okay, great. I love this.
One of two things
I can
happened.
tell you if it's true or not because I know these guys.
One of those two things happened to those people
Uh-huh.
to make that beer.
Uh-huh.
Either daddy didn't hug them enough
Right.
or daddy hugged them way too much.
It was both.
Okay, see?
Usually they had two dads. You know,
There's
they had a
nothing wrong with
stepdad and a
that.
regular dad.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
you meant like they had two dads. And I'm like,
No.
no, they would have had better taste than this.
Yeah,
So like
exactly.
this is
yeah. No. Also, I was saying they had the original dad who never tugged them any, and then they had the stepdad
it
trying to
hugged
step
them
in
way too much.
so they had
Yeah.
both.
And now they just need pain.
Yeah,
Like
now
it's
they
just it's
now
the only way I
they're
can
all
feel
fucked up.
anything.
Yeah, they're all.
Yeah.
I mean, and also, brewers by themselves is just like kind of a thing. Is that not the most social people?
That's fine, but you know when it's shit.
Yeah.
Well, no, you don't. I know a lot of fucking breweries that tried to sell me beer, and it's like, how do you not know this is bad?
Yeah.
How have you had everything else that's out there?
Yeah.
And you drink yours and go, this holds up.
I'm doing an interview probably at the end of the month with a beer trade magazine, and that's basically what I'm going to be talking about. Is that there right now craft beer is down than what its normal progression is starting to plateau, and my argument is like it's not actually plateauing.
No, it's just the bad
beer-
ones are filtering out.
Bad beer is getting called out. Good beer is still rising to the top. But
This
bad
is
beer-
actually, as much as I hate social media and how many platforms and everything can be on, things like that are actually when it's a good thing.
yeah, and I call it a culling. Like there's a culling going on
But it
right
needed
now
to.
into craft beer.
It
needs to.
yeah.
And people who are like, no, you make bad beer. And you're just trying to get on a trend. You're not going to last, and that's what we're seeing.
Yep.
People are shutting down because they're not making good product. And
Yeah.
trust me, I've gone to enough like picking over like breweries that have closed down. I'm just like, y'all didn't make good product. I can tell just walking your brewery, you made shit.
I've got somebody was going to do business with that was with one that
Mhm.
couldn't do it and got picked over, and
Yeah.
now he's with the new one and is in here like, I'm still bad at my job. I'm like, fucking, what are you doing?
What are you
They're
doing?
like,
Yeah.
just go do something else. I'm sure
Yeah,
Kinko's
it's-
is hiring.
Yeah, it's just, and it is what it is. But it's the industry is going through a little bit of a thing right now, which I'm happy for. I'm actually very.
It's
happy for
healthy.
because
It's healthy.
It's healthy.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a little bit of saturation in the beer industry right now, and you have people like, I'm not going to name a name, but there's like a brewery opening up soon that was just basically like, yeah, I'm a home brewer, and I know I'm a home brewer, but everybody else is home brewers, and they're doing all right, so I should be okay.
Oh, you told me about that.
Yeah, and I was like, motherfucker, you said what now about my industry? Like,
Yeah,
you
but
wanna
see,
fight?
This
a
is
fight
one of
in
those.
words.
This is one of those things, though, to where,
And those people,
and this is not me trying to be insulting. So let me get my whole statement out before you get all fucking
Done.
defensive. All right.
cool.
So cool your hackles. All right. It is not hard to make beer. It is hard to make good beer.
Oh yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
Okay, like that's what
My
I'm saying.
hackles did go up.
I know. As soon as I
I
got the
know.
first line out, you were like, "Motherfucker!" I was like, because it's not hard to make beer.
No, it's not.
I can go on Amazon and order that fucking Mr. Beer kit,
Right,
and it'll show
you're
up,
100%
and I'll make
right.
some sort of bullshit. It'll be beer.
It will be beer.
By
It'll
the
get you drunk.
definition of beer,
It'll get you drunk
it
and make you
is
shit
beer.
yourself, but it'll get you.
It's
It'll do it.
trash.
Yeah.
But you can do it. And it's so there's a lot of people out there like, I make beer. And I'm like, okay. You do. You make beer.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's good beer. We see it in the game industry.
Yeah, it's very similar to the
We
same
see it in the
thing.
game industry. It is very, very easy to actually make a game.
Yeah.
Right? Very, very easy to make a game. It's very easy to write an RPG. It's very easy to do all of this stuff. It is very, very hard to make something that people want to engage with, that they want to come back to,
Mhm.
that the quality is there, that they can go, this is something I now want to integrate into kind of my regime.
My life, yeah.
And in a craft beer world, not to be insulting to craft beer drinkers, and I am one, it's kind of a lifestyle thing.
Yeah, very much.
So like, it's your tap room, my bar, all that kind of stuff. We're kind of a person's like third place. They kind of have like homework, and then they have like our bar, right?
It's you're the first one to tell me that kind of idea of a third place.
The third place concept.
And when you told me that, I was like 100%. That's what I was trying to do and didn't know I was doing.
And that's what we were after when we built BattlePub.
Yeah.
Was, look, if you don't even want a game that day, but you want to be around your people and into the stuff that you can come and just be nerdy about,
Great.
like it's why everybody loved Cheers. It
Right.
was that idea of like, I know all these people. These people are also like they're into what I'm into. Like, That's that whole thing, and that third place concept, but you
It's
still
beautiful. It is a beautiful thought. It is a beautiful thought.
but
It's
you
a beautiful
still
idea.
have to have something quality enough that they're coming to that they
Right.
wanna keep coming to,
Yeah, they have
and
to
that's why
remain.
I'm saying is it's not hard to make beer. It is hard to be good at it,
Yes, it is.
and
It takes a lot of give a shit to be good at it.
yep.
Just like a lot of things in this world, it's really hard to make stuff.
Well, and it's like anything, right? If you make anything, it is very easy to be in love with what you made because you
Yes.
had nothing and now there's a thing, and there's a sense of accomplishment with that thing at the end,
Mhm.
but it's very hard to look at that thing and go, "That is really bad,"
Yeah.
and then get rid of it because you made it. You have all that time and effort and passion that went into it,
Mhm.
and it's trash, and now you just have to fucking
And
start
that's
over, and
and not to get into like the whole industry kind of thing, but that's also just like in business in general, because we're both business owners. That's why you hire the people you do.
yep,
You need to hire people that will push back on you, that
yeah.
will tell you you're stupid
You
and
need a
that you're wrong.
check. You have to have a check. You
Yep.
have to have somebody that can stand there and go,
You're wrong. You're wrong.
"Yep,
This is shit.
yep."
You know, I don't care what you say. This is bad. We can do better. And you need to have that. You need to have the people that can do that
You need
together.
somebody that will push back. You also need ones that'll challenge you and be like,
Mhm.
"You're getting lazy. You're
Yep.
you're resting on the fact that that worked,
Yep.
and now you're just trying to replicate
And
that,
that
and you're not
happens.
pushing."
That happens so much in the beer industry.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
like
that's just business though, and you can get real lazy. And then people want to know why lifestyle brands and stuff die, and it's like they get lazy.
they get lazy. Yeah.
They got like one or two, maybe five hits, and they're
Mhm.
like, "Fuck, we'll just replicate." And it's
Yeah.
like, no, that's not.
Well, I think that's any business where you create. I'm like, that's musicians, that is artists, that is beer, that is
Yeah,
whiskey.
100%.
You know,
And
cigars, anything where you create nothing, you can't create something out of nothing. It's really easy to just be like, I did it, I'm done.
yeah, I
You
made
know?
a hit. Now I can just ride on the fact that my name's on it, and it's
Yeah,
good to go.
yeah,
Uh, speaking of which,
yeah.
speaking of taking good ideas and kind of
That is a great segue.
running with
Fuck.
them and hope they're going to work for you.
That's why you're in charge of this podcast. motherfucker. That was great.
We're going to talk about some good ideas that are not declared, but maybe very obviously borrowed
Yeah.
from one place and then put into the 40K universe.
Yep. Absolutely.
So Warhammer 40K has been around. Brief history on the game, not the lore, the game.
Yeah.
So that you know where we're going with the lore. So I have to give
Right.
you a little bit of a primer. It started. So Games Workshop actually is a company that started making like backgammon and chessboards, and
Was it really?
that's how Games Workshop started. They actually only ever
I did
made
not
they
know
made
that.
gaming accessories. They made like
Fascinating.
boards and stuff like that.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And
Do
then
they
they
still?
no.
Okay.
And then they started making miniatures, fantasy miniatures
Yeah.
for other game systems and stuff like that. And then there was several other iterations. I'm not going to get into the whole timeline here, but there was a sci-fi game release called Rogue Trader.
Yep. That was their guy.
That was the birth of 40,000. That's Warhammer 40,000 is Rogue Trader.
Yeah.
And these are actually all fantasy guys. They're big D&D fans and
Right.
da, 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 da. So it was all fantasy guys that now made this thing called Rogue Trader, which was the sci-fi thing. That's the birth of Warhammer 40,000. Is this game called Rogue Trader. And that's where we first start seeing essentially Space Marines and their first stuff. They also had all these fantasy things, so they took some of their own fantasy, which let's face it, they didn't write. It's all Tolkienian fantasy
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
high
yeah,
fantasy.
yeah, yeah.
They took all of that.
They threw
It's
things
elves
together.
and orcs and whatever, and they
And
were like,
knights and horses and
and
yada,
we'll make it
yada,
our
yada.
own. We'll put it in space.
Yeah.
So when 40K first came along, you had literally they were called space elves and space orcs, and that was how we make it sci-fi. Is we
Yeah.
just put space in front of it, and now it's sci-fi.
Mhm.
As it caught on, because Rogue Trader was very popular, they had to start introducing a reason to make an army.
Okay. I'm following you.
So,
Yeah.
Games Workshop has always been very vocal about the fact that they are not actually a game company. They are a miniatures company with a game attached.
Okay.
Um, they don't talk about that so much now because there is
Yeah.
so much lore and everything's around it.
I think that's changed a
But-
lot for their business
But when they
model,
started,
yeah.
this was a miniatures company.
Yeah.
With a game attached. So their miniatures, it was always like, you can use them for other things. And da, 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 da. Now they're like, no, you can't. It's fucking ours.
Yeah,
And you
that's
only
it.
use it for us. But they needed more characters to pump out to essentially fuel the game.
Also,
The floor
Yeah.
recognized Caitlin.
interesting fact about Games Workshop is that in 1977, they were a printing publishing house because it was too expensive to import stuff like Call of Cthulhu and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So they printed those RPGs themselves and distributed to the UK.
Yeah. So like I said, that's
Hmm.
where a lot of that started.
Great knowledge, Wikipedia.
Thank you.
But that's where a lot of that started. And that essentially goes back to the fact that they didn't invent backgammon.
Yeah.
But they would make and distribute backgammon boards.
Yeah.
They didn't make these products, but because of import and logistics, hey, we'll just license it and sell it. We'll just sell it for you. So, and that's where they started. So they have a heritage, I guess,
Okay. For lack of a better word.
for I don't know what else to history. I just like
Heritage is good.
trying to put some more flavor on it.
Yeah. No,
Little
let's go
little
do it.
little stank on it.
Little je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, trying to hit it with the dipper.
Almost made me spill ice down my beer.
That's alcohol abuse, sir. So when as World Trader got popular and they had to push it, more and more armies started coming out. Now you were talking about a bunch of nerds that all get together in essentially a fucking room and are like,
Let's pretend.
"Hey, anybody
to
got any
fight.
fucking ideas?" Right?
Yeah.
Well, what are nerds gonna read or watch or whatever?
History.
100% history. So what you end up with is, but in the beginning, it was just Space Marines. It wasn't.
Yeah.
The story didn't exist. It was just Space Marines.
Right.
It was just in what they fight and shit like that. And a rogue trader was essentially just somebody that went around the universe and sold shit. But then the emperor said, like, yeah, you're allowed. Like, that's a rogue trader.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
So trader, Trader, like Joe,
Like merchant.
like Joe.
Joe Trader. Trader Joe? Trader Vic.
Oh,
Yeah.
now I like where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so they had to come up with other stuff. Now, if you start looking at what else is in the universe, right? So, like, there's a whole army called the Tyranids.
Right.
Right?
So we're breaking down armies now. We're into this now.
Yeah, well, because now we can start making what the Space Marines started fighting.
Yeah.
So they started fighting these things called Tyranids.
Mhm.
Tyranids
It's bugs.
are giant space bugs. So now let's look at where else giant space bugs existed before they ever existed in 40K.
Anywhere else.
And that was in Starship Troopers.
Yeah, it's basically the same
Now,
thing.
we're not talking about the movie.
Yeah.
We are and aren't talking about the movie.
Yeah.
So the Starship Troopers is a book. Started as a book.
Never read it.
The
Do I
fact
need
that
to?
that's not on the list of should be fucking banned books in the current political climate is beyond me. It's essentially it's supposed to be an allegorical thing of like when fascism runs wild.
Yeah, it's
Kind of
satire of
thing.
that.
It's supposed to be satirical, but we don't get to view things like that anymore, which is why we ban books like Mouse. But
I know, right?
Whatever.
Whatever.
But in that book, that is the first appearance ever of power armor,
Okay.
which is what Space Marines wear.
Mhm.
And they fight giant space bugs that aren't good or evil. They just consume the resources of whatever. It's a swarm.
It's a swarm.
It's like locusts. Locusts aren't evil. You don't want them in your farm,
Yeah.
but they're not evil. Like
Yeah.
they
if
just
you've
are.
ever been mowing your lawn and you hit a hornet's nest, it's not evil and it's not good or bad. It's just
They
you're
just
fucked up
exist.
and they're coming
Right.
to get you.
So in that, but we decide they're fucking here to get us, and to quote the movie, the only good bug is a dead bug. So instead of going like, okay, but you can't reason with just a mindless horde swarm. So it's just we go to war,
Yeah, you gotta fight it.
and then it's the whole escalation of force thing, and why like
Yeah.
because we decide to inject ourselves into something we shouldn't be injected in, we then aggravate this whole thing. Anyway,
I can't think of
That's the
anything that the
book.
United States has ever done that to.
or just globally,
Just globally.
like
I just can't.
any government that thinks they have their shit together.
Never.
No,
can't
never
think
would
of
have
it.
happened.
Nope.
But
Totally not real.
yeah. So so yeah. Anyways, well, so now you have these giant space bugs.
Yep.
And hyper trained soldiers in power armor fighting each other. Does that sound familiar
Yeah.
at all to
That
you?
is 40K.
Okay,
That is
so-
40K.
So you have, so like that's just one piece of pop culture. So if you've ever watched the movie Starship Troopers,
Right.
or if you have ever read the books, which are from the 70s, these are not. We're not talking like the book came out and 5 years later they made the movie. Like it is the novel is old.
I need to read these books.
It's good.
They're good.
It's
Are they well written or are they just kind of like just
I mean, it's 70s sci-fi.
yeah, okay.
So you ever read like Ringworld or
No,
any Larry Niven stuff?
no.
Robert Aspirin, any of that kind of Discworld, any of that. 70s sci-fi is weird. But like it's just weird because
Yeah.
I mean now we just live sci-fi. Like it's
Yeah, that's all we
I
have.
mean
now.
other than the fact that we still travel really fucking slowly. We have almost everything else that's come out of sci-fi.
It's
Like
crazy how much you watch like some of these movies. I was listening to a podcast about they were talking about Alien, and it was just like talking about like how like a lot of the technology that comes in these sci-fi movies back in like the 70s and 60s and stuff like that. It's like
we have all of it.
we have it.
Watch Star Trek.
Yeah.
Literally watch Next Generation. I don't even mean the old shit. Watch Next Generation.
We have it.
And they're walking around like reading on little tablets and
Yep.
they just can like tell the computer to play whatever music they want and
Yeah.
da-da-da-da-da-da.
The only thing is we don't have the food thing. God, I want that so
Yeah,
bad.
right. The whole like, yeah, you can't get
I
your
can't be like
tea Earl Grey hot. Yeah, you can't get that.
exactly. No, I want that, and I want teleportation. Where
But,
the fuck are you?
We travel slow
Uh-huh.
and we can't, manifest things. Other than that, we have everything that's in these fucking
Yeah,
shows.
we got it.
Um,
Yeah,
I was gonna
FaceTiming.
say- I was gonna say we don't have the hologram thing, but we do because we now have like Oculus.
Yeah, it's
That's
getting
the
there.
hologram.
It's gonna get there.
well, but now it's wireless.
Yeah.
Like my Oculus, you still have to plug into a computer, but the Quest is wireless. So if you just have an empty room and you put that on, and it's going to stop you at the barrier of you can just walk around your virtual space. Like
it's gonna be in like when we are like 70 years old.
I don't even think it's that far away.
You don't even think it's that
No,
far?
because go look at projection mapping,
Yeah, I guess it's
where they're
real
able to
close.
they're able to projection map a building and like make it look like something else. And I mean, yeah,
Yeah, we're really
we're
close,
right there.
which I'm in. I want to do that.
The only
so
thing
bad.
that we don't have it exists. We just don't have it on a consumer level.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways, that's a whole nother discussion.
Jesus.
So that's all Starship Troopers. So
Yeah.
that covers essentially the original concept of Space Marines
And Tyranids.
and Tyranids.
So Tyranids basically they're just mindless swarming bugs.
They're literally their only mission, even in the lore, is to consume biomass.
Yeah.
And if you look at and then they have the whole fucking they have a subdivision called the Gene Stealer cults, which in Starship Troopers, they have bugs that can absorb the mind of humans to figure out what they're thinking, which is what Gene Stealer cults do.
Yeah. Okay.
So Gene
So
Stealer
it's
cults,
straight stolen from Starship.
100% borrowed.
Yeah.
GW, don't
We
sue
don't-
me,
yeah.
please. I sell a lot of your shit. Um,
Sorry,
We're gonna
Sorry,
get a-
GW.
We're gonna get a cease and desist letter in the mail. I feel it.
I will frame it and put it right fucking there.
And forever we will call
I
you something.
love cease and desist letters. I'm a
Well,
huge fan.
gotten
Best
another
one I ever got was from Chiquita Banana. I'll tell you about that offline.
Oh my god.
I got a
really?
Chiquita Banana cease and desist letter. Proudest
Love
moment
it.
of my career.
I love it.
Anyway,
That's why I just don't check the mail. I don't check mail. That's why.
Hey,
They
fuck
always
it.
want money from me, or they tell
I
you
can't
cease and
cease anything if I didn't know.
If I didn't see it,
Yeah. So,
fine.
send it certified, or I can deny it. Uh,
That's your legal advice for today, kids.
But no, it's not. I assume no responsibility for legal and or financial advice.
Yeah, right.
Anyways,
Buy Bitcoin.
now, how do you feel about
Foreign.
constantly repairing murderous robots?
It's kind of what I do for my job, really.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I just constantly repairing pumps and like hot water heaters.
Yeah,
and
so-
stuff.
but you've seen Terminator.
Yeah.
Terminator 2.
Yeah.
All those kind of things, right?
Loved
Like
Loved it.
these gun-toting.
First movie, Terminator 2 is the first movie I ever watched on Laserdisc.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Laserdisc.
Hot.
Hot.
Yeah.
That was the tech.
It's a DVD the size of a fucking record.
Yeah.
Like just
As a dinner plate.
Yeah.
And that costs about $400.
so. But if you look at the Terminator story and all that kind of stuff, now go look at Necrons.
exact same thing.
Necrons are
Self-replicating, mindless robots moving forward.
that are there to accomplish a mission that they were programmed to do, and
Necrons are a little bit more than Terminators. They have a lot of Egyptian influence on them as well.
yes, they do. But I think that may just be instead of doing a direct rip, how
Yeah,
do we
How do we
kind
not?
of, because that's that whole, in their story, the souls of the Necrons all get
Mhm.
ripped out and given these metal bodies to make them eternal. and da 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 da. So it's the Egyptian borrowing of like why they're all put in metal sarcophaguses and all that
Yeah,
kind of
and
stuff. It's
they're all different. What do they call the
they are seps or
yeah,
whatever.
seps,
They
they
yeah.
do
So
that. And then they also have different dynasties
that's what
and
it is.
stuff.
It's
Yeah,
dynasties and
dynasties,
all that kind
yeah.
of stuff.
So you that really
But
tears
that's supposed to be
right
the
out from
whole, and they're pulling it directly from that culture. But the whole killer robot thing,
yeah, Killer Robot is
even the look of them, the
yeah,
way they look and stuff like that, you can't look at the T1000 and look at a Necron and not go,
same thing.
that's the same
Same thing.
thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
So yeah, very very much pulled
God,
from.
I hate fighting Necrons.
Oh, they're awful,
They're
awful to
terrible.
pull.
Yeah.
I mean the Orc Army, we talked about them in the last episode.
Cottonies.
And all that kind of stuff. They borrowed a lot of it. But it's Irish. They're literally soccer hooligans.
Yeah,
That's
soccer hooligans, Cockney
and
slang.
they were. There was an interview like 3 decades ago or some
Well,
shit.
yeah, they said it was like, yeah, it was soccer hooligans.
It was that they 100% based on soccer hooligans. They want to fight. We don't know why. But they had orcs in their fantasy world. They needed to change it from. They used to literally be called space orcs.
Yeah, they need to change it up.
And they were
bit.
mindless.
Yeah.
Just whatever, and they needed to do something to give them a narrative flavor. So
a bunch of nerds living in England looked out their window one Sunday afternoon and saw a bunch of people fighting after a footy match.
it's also,
and it was just like,
go look.
There it is.
But
Figured it
also
out.
go look at Tolkienian orcs.
Yeah.
So Tolkienian orcs, so the ones from the Lord of the Rings,
Right.
Their entire culture is based on he who fights the best is fucking in charge.
Right.
And the bigger they are, the better they fight. They must outrank us. Like that's
it's the same thing.
And that's they're crafted by a higher magical power. Like they're literally
40K.
They're literally borrowed. So I mean,
it is.
There's not a lot of difference there.
There is but it's also really fun with 40K is that you can kind of see these armies that they have that they're selling and being like, you can relate to them, or not like relate to them, but at least be like,
yeah,
I like
and that's
like
why
it.
we're doing this. This is not a GW just rip stuff off. Sure, they do.
Who cares? But do you know?
Well, the reason we're doing this is that if 40K is something you're interested in getting into, even if you just want to go read the stories, we're trying to give you some of the analogs from other pop culture you might know that go, okay, that sounds dope as shit. I'll go read that stuff.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
whatever.
Because I always said like there's 3 ways you can enjoy 40K. You can enjoy 40K by reading the lore. You can enjoy 40K by playing the game on tabletop, or you can enjoy 40K by doing art. You know, I mean, like Caitlin, you're big into the artwork. By the way, I saw your Angron.
Yeah.
Fucking beautiful. You
Thank
nailed
you.
that. Knocked it out of the park.
3 weeks.
That was amazing. You did such a good job.
Yeah.
So whenever GW decides to release Lehman, you're getting my Lehman. Congratulations.
Perfect. I feel like he's coming, but yeah, we've talked about this multiple times. There's multiple different types of Warhammer players, and exactly like you said, there's those that like to paint, those that hate painting and would rather play, and stuff like that. So
and then you also have like Big Jim who just does lore. Like that's all he is.
And I prefer painting. I do play, like I play Necromunda. I'm excited for 40K. I'm getting out of AOS because oh my god, I have so much plastic I need to get rid of.
Well, and so you brought up Angron.
Yeah. Well, I was complimenting her Angron.
Right, but you brought that up, and that reminded me of all of the demon structure.
Yeah.
So in 40K, the evil side is all demons.
Yeah.
And they're all very recognizable borrowed from other cultural representation of
what a demon is.
Of what these demons are. So that's all borrowed. So there's a lot in it that is borrowed and tweaked, whatever you want to call it, inspired by.
I mean, like
whatever the loophole is on it.
If you make something, and this is what I've always told people, especially with going kind of back to beer, you stand on the shoulders of giants.
It also helps.
You don't try to reinvent the wheel. You just do what
it
somebody
also
else
helps
did
that
and you do a little better.
The British statute of limitations on IP theft is like 5 years or some shit.
Is that it?
Yeah. So if you don't get sued fast enough, you essentially just are allowed to run with it. So when you understand that law and then can roll it out and
then you just roll it out. But
Yeah.
but they did it in a way that it's not. GW did a really, really good job with
But they've made their own world now.
but they made their own world.
Yeah.
It's all connected and it makes sense in a certain way.
Yeah.
You know?
The only thing that I don't like is how quick they are to sue people that appreciate their world, like the YouTube channels they've shut down, or the cease and desist they've given, or the
But that's also
the
just
usage
law.
rights and stuff.
That's
Yeah, but they're
law.
essentially capitalizing on the fact that, hey, we got away with it, but you're fucking not.
But we know the
Like
rules,
that's
yeah.
It's a little gross. I mean, I still own so much Games Workshop product, and will continue to buy it. I continue to sell it. It is
It's a good company.
It's a good company. They're the greatest tabletop war game company that has ever existed. They're the biggest in the world. They have the best world. If you
And it's
don't give a
constantly evolving.
and if you don't give a fuck about the story and you're just thinking like, I like to build little dudes, it's some of the best looking plastic out there.
Especially
They're
the
an
new stuff. They're
amazing model
beautiful,
company.
beautiful stuff.
So they do it right. Now,
Now,
if all of that stuff that you may have seen doesn't make you go like,
huh?
Fuck, maybe 40K is something I dig.
Yeah.
There's some stuff out there you could actually go watch. Movies you could go
Mhm.
watch, other stuff that if you kind of want to see what that world would look like if it was real, there's some things that you could go and dig into that
Oh, there's some really great.
that-
There's free stuff online that you can do.
there's free stuff online that is GW's, that it's literally based on this world.
The Astartes.
There's also the
thing.
Astartes short is absolutely phenomenal.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful.
The Chronicles of Riddick.
Yep.
That is actually all the Riddick films. So the first one is him fighting Tyranids.
Yep.
The second one is quite literally the Imperium shows up. Like that is
That is what it is.
That
yeah.
is the Imperium shows up. In that movie, he's fighting the Imperium and then just ends up being in charge of the Imperium. But that is the Imperium of Man has
Mhm.
appeared.
Yeah.
They're doing the damn thing.
Yeah.
They're on a great crusade across the galaxy to claim the galaxy. Like it's
the other IP like that the filmmakers have literally said like, oh no, we use Game Workshop as it is Event Horizon.
Yes.
Event Horizon
So
is
Event
a great
Horizon, 100%. Especially if we've talked about it a lot on this. There's a thing called boarding actions, which is literally it's all on a spaceship.
Yeah.
Like
And
that's
it's also the whole chaos, like, hey, you have to go through hell to get through fast like
Yep.
travel. You know, that's what Event Horizon's all about.
Yep.
And it's a great view of like, hey, what if they didn't know, you know, it's like the first time they ever tried to do Faster Than Light and they realized like, oh fuck.
my mentor at film school is actually the production designer for that film.
Well, he is a good guy.
He also
'Cause-
designed Pinhead.
Jesus, did he really?
Oh no, I'll talk to you. His first job at 15 was on the set of Star Wars. Like I'll give you his breakout. Like
Oh my
he's
god, that's amazing.
learning underneath him was
That's so cool.
the stories I heard were
Yeah, that's so cool.
God.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Fascinates me.
He also ate peanut butter and pickle sandwiches. He was an interesting guy.
Yeah, I don't like him now.
Well,
I'm out.
he was British. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Space Marines. Let's dig
okay.
deep into Space Marines
So,
because Space Marines in
Also,
themselves have their own factions that are
if you're
based
a
on her corporal.
if you're a fucking Halo fan,
Yeah. Oh, that's what Space
and
Marines
they
are.
literally are Space Marines. That is the
That is what,
United Federation Marine Corps, whatever the
Yeah.
fuck they are. UNSC, United Nations.
USMC.
No, that's the actual just Marine Corps.
Never mind.
Yeah, USMC is literally the United States Marine Corps.
I retract my previous
Yeah.
statement. Thank you for calling.
But they're Space Marines. Master Chief is a Space Marine.
Yeah, he's Space Marine.
That is a genetically modified power armor wearing Space Marine. Like
Human,
that,
yeah.
that's a Space Marine.
Yeah.
That is a GW Space Marine plucked up and stuck on Larry Niven's Ring World.
Yeah.
Halo, and I played the dog shit out of it, so don't be like,
Love it.
I love Halo. That is two other IPs that got stolen and slammed together. So if you were a fan of that,
Yeah.
you're a big fan of GW. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah. If you like that, yeah.
So, but yes, then you have the Space Marines, and as the story grew, you couldn't just have we just have super soldiers just coming out our ass. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
and
They had to be separated and legionized. And,
right, because you needed specialties.
Yeah, you needed
Everybody needed a job, right? And we've kind of talked about this
Yes.
before on the show. But it's with this, you can see where they borrowed stuff. So the very, very obvious one. The Space Wolves are based on Vikings.
Yeah. Space Vikings. There is a slight bit of, and I really hate I hate the amount of hate it gets from on the internet about Wolfie McWolfisons. Because
okay,
there was a
look,
time they did that and they're getting away from it.
but here's the deal: when they started it, I feel like short term memory starts coming in where people don't realize just how ignorant we fucking were. Shit, I'll say it. 20 years ago,
Oh yeah.
how small minded and lack of global vision people had
Yep.
because you just didn't fucking know what was going on. You didn't know what was going on the state over, let alone
Yeah.
other side of the world or historically or
anything.
like nobody knew any of this shit.
Yeah.
So yes, a lot of it came from a point of ignorance. GW has made corrections. So, but
right now, yeah, Space Wolves are doing a great job of being like, we are Vikings, especially if you read any of the Horus Heresy lore
Yeah.
on them. They're like,
but
we are Vikings.
but they are Vikings in the concept of wave top Vikings.
Yeah.
Like everything's pointy and you wear fur and everybody's just hammered and not the like we know that historically now they were actually a very structured culture and like
yeah.
men and women were very equal and like they were an incredibly advanced society.
They also do that in the lore where,
they have now. It's
they
not
have
where
now.
it started.
It's not where it down.
So,
but now in the lore, like in that like kind of, men and women are very equal.
Yep.
They also treat that as like Space Wolves, the actual Space Marines of the Space Wolves and their serfs are very much on an equal footing.
They are, and it's an earned respect thing, and that's
Yeah.
fine. But this isn't a fucking woke conversation. It's a wave top. Space Marines are Vikings.
Got it. Moving on.
Ultramarines are the Romans.
Romans. There's no way to do that.
And right down to the extreme strategy, extreme discipline.
Yeah.
The whole 9 yards.
They
have a
are
huge empire.
Romans.
Big fans of pillars. Like they are.
Love marble.
Yeah. Huge Roman.
Big fan of marble.
Roman kind of jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just if you're like Julius Caesar was a pretty cool guy.
Boy, do we have
an army
some boys for you.
They are it.
And it was the whole like, and their whole legion is about the whole like, oh, you've got a planet? Let's tell you how to improve it.
Yeah.
Like
your planet is now my planet, and I made it better.
Yeah. By the way, I also built a road. And they do a lot of road building.
They do a lot.
A lot of road building, a lot of columns.
While you were gone, I put this aqueduct in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Hey, you like plumbing? Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Now you got plumbing. By the way, I'm going to take 10% of your population. They're going to fight for me now.
Yeah.
But
that's just what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot of eagles, pillars, things on sticks. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Can't let your banner touch the ground.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all the rules. You'll be good. This is Bobby G.
Yeah, he's in charge.
He likes to orate.
Yeah. I declare on my honor, I shall destroy the foes of my father.
I wrote this book. All the rules are in the book. Anything and everything that could ever happen, I put it in the book.
Read the book.
Read the book. So you've got, let's go through the big ones here.
All right, let's go through the legions.
Well, just the big boys. We don't need to get into all the fucking.
Emperor's children are Grecian.
100%. The Emperor's children are Greeks. That is an entire legion that is built on how pretty can we make it.
Yeah.
That is a art first.
Art first.
And then how many ways can we fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a art first, and I like to fuck. What do you like to fuck? I didn't say that. I just said I like to fuck.
Yeah.
Like I didn't.
I like to find out what I like to fuck.
Yeah. I'll let you know after I fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that was positive.
Yeah.
Negative.
Yeah. That's all it is. Yeah. Big on poems, plays,
just
music,
culture,
art. And it's either the greatest or nothing. Like you don't even like you can start a sculpture. And if you get halfway through the sculpture and it's like, this isn't going the way I want it, you're done. You just throw it away. Start over.
Yep.
Like that's it. It's just the
perfect.
best.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's that first. You also just happen to be a good
soldier,
a good fighter later. Why? Because we do everything the best. And that's just we practice and practice and fucking practice some more. And when you're done practicing, you slug some water, you practice again.
Yeah. Go back to practice.
Yeah. So
he's that horrible high school football coach.
Yeah, it's the guy that's like, I have nothing else to offer but these abs. That's what I've got.
Yeah,
and
we're gonna go practice.
It's that, and I'm gonna sit here, and I'm not gonna understand what any of this is art about. Any of this art is for, but I know a lot of buzzwords.
Yeah.
And if it,
like that, yeah.
yeah, it's
I will buzzword the shit out of you.
fuck yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if I didn't get it or it makes me upset while I'm at it, it was shallow and pedantic, and I don't even know what those words mean.
What now?
Yeah, exactly. That's how this works.
All right. So what else do we got? We got
You got the Blood Angels.
which are vampires, Victorian vampires.
Yeah.
That is what they are. There's nothing. GW is like very on the nose with that one.
With Blood Angels. Okay, if you have ever watched HBO's True Blood, you know the Blood Angels.
Yeah. They're vampires.
They're vampires, but
They-
not vampires in the mindless, I'm just a hunter.
Yeah.
It's the, I know I'm a vampire and I struggle. I struggle with my vampirism and I don't want to fall to the rage, but boys gotta eat. I gotta do my
It's a
thing.
Saturday night. I got
Yeah.
nothing going. And
Huge
the guy
thing.
called me and I said, yeah.
Yeah.
We're
an
going to the bar tonight.
Outstanding loyalty to my maker. It's like, yeah,
exactly.
it's all by the blood, for the blood. Like that's a
a lot of blood talk.
lot of blood talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I
a
read the lore
thing.
on them. Sometimes I'm just like, all right,
Ooh,
enough
it's
with
like,
the
this is
blood.
spicy. Yeah. This
no
is
one
getting a
talks
little.
shit about the Blood Angels about blood, but they talk about the Space Wolves. with
It's in the
wolves.
name.
Yeah.
Like what? You can't get away from that. It's like it's not all about it. It's in the name.
Yeah, they're all about.
They have abilities that are like the blood of chalice, the chalice of blood, and the blah blah blah. Like
Yeah.
it's blood, blah blah blood, 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 bloody McBlooderson. That's the people like to make fun of the wolves.
Yeah,
Come on,
Come
hey,
on,
like
figure it out.
let's
Their power
go.
armor's even red.
Yeah. You can't have dragons in space, so they made the salamanders.
Yep.
And that's straight up what that is. That is just what's the solution? Fire.
Fire.
Yeah, yeah,
It
like,
makes shit. It's hard. It's hard as your heart is rock.
yeah, and their whole thing is, and that's the salamander's just another word for dragon. It's another mythological creature
Yeah,
that's just a fire breathing
it.
dragon.
And then the other one, Dark Angels, Arthurian legends.
Dark Angels it's the round table.
The
that
Round
is
Table.
that is just the Arthurian story turned into a legion. So if you're really into fucking
King Arthur and chivalry and all that stuff.
in
you got-
chivalry the right way, meaning you speak really well in public and then behind closed doors you are willing to like sleep with a man's wife or gut a dude in public, like
But if nobody saw it,
but if
didn't
nobody saw
happen.
it, then you're still honorable. Yeah, that's
But they also steal, or not steal. They borrowed a lot of stuff from literature too. So there's history, like for example, the Night Lords, Conrad's,
Conrad
Conrad
Kurz.
Kurz
Yeah.
was a straight. You can see that all the way from across to Heart of Darkness.
Real that's where you're going with it. It's Heart of Darkness.
Heart of Darkness. The guy's name was Kurz. Colonel Kurz. Colonel Kurz.
Oh yeah, they borrow a lot of that.
They borrowed that, but
that
it's
kinda
also
stuff.
Heart of Darkness. There is like it's Apocalypse Now. Like that is
yeah,
what
okay.
Night
I'll give you
Angel-
that. The end
that
of
is what the
yeah,
Night
I'll
Lords
give you
are.
I'll give you Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, Apocalypse Now. That's what the Night Lords were.
I'll give you Apocalypse Now. It's very much they took that story into, so it's not all based on like major cultures. It is
But
borrowed
also
from other
that kind of
places.
stuff. I'm like they also with the Raven Guard. That is very stolen from Edgar Allan Poe.
Well, I
you
mean,
know?
they're literally called the Raven Guard.
Right,
It's
yeah.
not like they're trying to hide much here. That is
Yeah.
those are the emo boys of the
Yeah.
40K universe.
Yeah, I'm like if you're a big Poe
Um,
fan and that kind of stuff,
Raven Guard
Raven Guard
all
they
day.
got you.
Yeah,
They got you.
all
But yeah, no,
day.
the Night Lords have always been a fan. I've been a fan of them because
They're very Jack
the-
the Ripper.
yeah, they're just, but they're also there was like the whole idea of Conrad Kurz when he was or Colonel Cutts or whatever from Apocalypse Now.
Yeah,
What's
when he
the guy's
goes
name?
native.
When he goes native was like there is no good or evil. There's winning.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's what the Night Lord's about. Like there's no good or evil, especially when
I
they
mean,
were
When you start decorating your armor with body parts, that's a
but then it goes to an extreme. But
Yeah.
it's always that's what he did in Apocalypse Now, where they were just sitting there being like, "Hey, if I need to skin 100 people to make 10,000 give up,
yeah, then it's
well,
worth
I'm
it.
going to do it."
So,
You know,
but the reason we bring all this up is if there's some sort of pop culture shit out there that you're into,
Mhm.
it's probably in the 40K universe somewhere. Like it's there.
the
What?
full recognized Caitlin.
What do you want?
I got one. I got two.
Okay,
All right, great.
Hit me.
Yeah, great.
All right. Mad Max is Necromunda, but so is Dread with the
Okay,
Enforcers.
Dread is Necromunda.
So is Mad Max.
You need
Ash
to watch.
Wace?
You need to watch original Mad Max.
No, okay, the remake.
You're talking about Fury Road?
Yeah.
Fury Road and Ash Waste is 100% borrowed. So Necromunda has an expansion that came out about a year ago called Ash Waste.
Okay.
And it's outside the major city.
Mhm.
And it's in the blown out fucking, and vehicles get involved and they're all ramshackle and it's
Great. Yeah.
It's Mad Max.
Oh, that's cool.
Ash Waste is Mad Max. Necromunda
Dread.
is that's Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd.
It's straight up the Palatine Enforces and the Arbites
Mhm.
are those are the judges.
Mhm.
Everybody else is some crazy gang that's running some major
Yeah.
block, and they eat people, and everybody's just there to make credits and
Sell drugs.
Sell drugs. Live from today to tomorrow.
right.
Next
And that whole
question.
we get a crime reported every 17 seconds. We can only respond to 1 in 3,000. That is fucking Necromunda. That is also Judge Dredd. Necromunda is 100% Judge Dredd.
And then one of the greatest successor chapters, Black Templars. It's the Templars. It's the Knights
and
Templar.
They weren't even.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like subtle.
No, it's 100%.
So the Black Templars in the game are religious zealots that have no patience for anything that does not declare that the Emperor is a god.
And then all they do is they crusade around and they protect and they kill things.
That's it.
That's what
all
Knights
they do.
Templar did, and that's what they do.
Yep. So, anyways, it all comes down to if there's some piece of history you dig or some piece of pop culture you're into, GW has probably stuck it in 40K.
Yeah. And it even goes into successor chapters and stuff like that. You can find somebody that you are into.
Now, we know this pretty well. So if you're listening to this episode and you have hey, I'm really into this, is that a gateway for me to get into 40K? Fucking drop it in the comments and
we'll bring it up.
I'll see if we can find something.
I mean, even a lot of the successor chapters with the new ones that are coming out,
Space Sharks?
Space Sharks, the Carcharodons. Love the Carcharodons. Love the Carcharodons. Yeah, they're so fucking cool. But even you have the Spears of the Emperor, that have come out. They're all, very much the Picts, the early Great British people. And then there's also the what's the other one that the Lions or the Imperial Fist chapter that was almost wiped out.
Oh boy, you're gonna have to come up with what timeline. We're getting to a whole fucking
40K right there with Chaplain Grimaldus.
Oh
Yeah,
you're digging into
anyway, that one is they're very much the Zulu tribe.
Oh,
They
okay.
follow the Zulu tribe, so they're very much like warrior Zulus, and it was really fantastic that they did that. But they're constantly pulling in all of these different ideas from different sides, and they're making some really fun successor chapters and people that are going to be entering into the lore that you can get into. They have they've made that new Primaris one that we talked about that all they do is boarding actions.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, that's the Spears.
Yeah, no, there's another one too. There's that they basically come from a sea planet, and what they do is they have a huge navy and they just do naval actions.
That's awesome.
If you want to just if you like the idea of
I mean, that's the other thing too.
Yeah.
And we talked about it before when we talked, because people have asked what books to read and all that kind of stuff. And we've talked about Gaunt, and all those kind of guys. If you're really into I'm a big Call of Duty fan. Okay, we got you on that too.
Astra Militarum.
There's Astra Militarum stories. It's I'm a big fan of Master and Commander, and it's let me introduce you to the Imperial Navy.
Which are cool.
They're super dope, and they wear the badass jackets, and they've got cool hats.
Yeah,
and
just you with the hats,
dude. I totally believe that in global social structure, both corporate, religious, military, and everything should be based on the size of your fucking hat.
I'm in. I can't not be in. I'm in.
Yeah,
I want a big hat. I want a nice hat.
Right.
I love hats.
Fuck
I got shitty hair. I'm down.
I'm CEO here.
Yeah.
Fucking
give me a hat.
Give me a hat.
Get a top hat.
Should get top hats.
A
If you get a
ridiculous
top hat, I'll
top
get a
hat.
Okay, we're getting top hats.
Or
That's what's happening. We're getting top hats.
As CEOs, we get to choose what our headgear is.
Oh.
Okay. How about
Okay.
flat brimmed hat, ridiculous feather.
Oh, the bigger the feather, the more higher up you are. I like
Worked
that
for
too.
pirates.
Worked for pirates.
I'm just saying. Plumage.
Yeah, more plumage. I want
Plumage.
multiple feathers.
When I was
I
thinking
wanna
of
have, like,
top hat, when I was thinking of top hat, I was thinking of like a Doug Dimmadome hat.
Oh no,
Like
not just
really
height.
big.
Not height, complexity. Look, I'm not a huge fan of the church. Any church in general. Organized religion scares me.
Right.
Like as a general, because there's no logic decision. Sorry for all of you out there that whatever it is what it is. You're allowed to believe what you want to believe. I believe what I want to believe. I can respect it. I don't have to understand it, but I can respect the fact that it's your jam.
Got it.
Right?
Great. Good PSA.
But one thing I do like about the Catholics, hats. It's hat structure, baby.
It is hat structure.
Like, if you're just a local padre,
Little
it's
hat.
nothing, or you get the little yarmulke,
The
the
little
little
guy.
disc,
The little guy.
right?
Then you start getting up.
You get to
the-
cardinal
start
or
getting
bishop.
higher.
Bishop gets the little like flappy hat.
Yep.
Cardinals get that weird like Chinese takeout hat that they
Yep,
get to fucking wear.
And then you get then
And
you
then
get Pope.
The pontiff himself gets that
Just
just
monster.
looking like a chess piece.
Yeah,
Like
he's
it's,
walking around,
but you know,
ducking between doors.
you could know nothing about the Catholics. You could walk into a room with 5 different levels of priests in there, and
And
you'd
be
go
like,
like,
"You're in
that
charge."
man's in charge.
I know he's in charge because
Yeah.
that is a nice hat.
Look at that hat.
I
That is
can
a
just
good hat.
imagine if Jazz was ever Pope, it would never happen. But if you
No,
were,
well, you have to be Catholic first.
they
But
would be like,
Technically, he could be. It is not a requirement to be Catholic to be a pope.
really?
Yep.
it's actually not even required that you be ordained.
Anyway, if you
So
were
Jazz for Catholic,
Pope,
2024.
they would tell you that the hat was reserved for like special occasions. You'd be like, no, fuck it, I'm wearing it all the
This
time.
is
Be
my
like-
daily
be like,
headwear,
Fine.
Excuse me, but I'm God's representative on earth
and God just whispered in my ear
and said that I'm sleeping in this
and
bitch.
said,
Like, it's-
"This is my hat."
So I can imagine Jazz at breakfast eating his like hard boiled egg and his fruit and his cheese because they're very Italian with his big old hat on and his like little nightie.
just sitting there in my robe and my hat and my Fruit Loops, just fucking
just going down, just like looking half zombie. Just, just like, what do we got today? What do we got on the docket?
Dude, I'm
well,
just-
we gotta clean the hat, like bring in the backup hat.
yeah.
I got 4 hats on
I got
rotation.
just. I respect. I'm just saying. I think if the whole population went to hats determine rank structure,
Mhm.
we'd be in a far better place.
I think we would be. Do you know who actually did a hat structure like that,
other than the Catholics,
other than the Catholics?
I have no idea.
But if you were to do it, I don't know if he did it, but Russ would have done it, and he would have been right.
oh god damn it!
Oh, he would have been right.
Oh,
Got
I've been whiplashed by this. That was
Bamboozled.
smooth.
You like
sir.
that?
I liked
You
it.
like that?
I liked
But
it.
anyway, to summarize, Russ is right, but also 40K is a lot of things that you can find interest in that if you get into your niche, kind of don't look at all the other fluff because it can get too much, but find your niche, go into it, then work your way out.
That's where you dig, and then you see where it links in because
Yeah.
they've done all the linking. But just find your
Find your
path.
guy.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
it's so big when you look at it, but then if you get down to the
Yeah.
minutia, then you're like, oh, I like that.
100%. Don't try and catch up on 40 years of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
It like,
Get catch up, on
and that's
the
actually not
current-
exaggeration. This is actually the 40th year of Warhammer.
Is it really?
Yeah,
That's fucking amazing.
that's a thing. So, anyways, May 6th, if you are in San Antonio, Second Pitch Beer Company,
Yep.
the IPA Festival,
The Dip Up Festival.
DIPA Fest.
Dip Fest. Yeah. So we're doing a home brewing. It's a homebrew palooza, and it's actually very exciting because we have a bunch of really good homebrewers in San Antonio. We're going to be. Oh, excuse me. There it is. We have people submitting their beer for it. It's a homebrew competition, and the winner of it, once we figured out who the winner is, they get to brew their double IPA on our professional system
On the big boy?
on the big boy,
Oh,
and it goes on draft at second pitch.
having gotten the chance to brew on the big boy, it's
Yeah.
a blast.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's so good.
So if you win the double IPA Palooza, you get 3 things. You get to name the beer. You get to make the beer. We follow your recipe. We scale it up to where we are. Then we are going to enter that beer into the Great American Beer Festival Pro-Am. So you can also win a medal at the GABF medal, potentially, if you're good at it. And you get to choose what next year's beer is.
Okay, if you win the DIPA Festival, might I recommend for name, you call it When I dip a, you dip a, we dip a.
When I dip a, you dip a, we dip a. When I dip, you dip, we dip. I put your hand up on my hip. When I dip, you dip. I like it. I'm in.
just
That's some 90s hip hop right
just
there.
throwing that out
No,
there.
I love it.
That
I
one's
love it.
free.
But yeah, but then if you win, you get to choose what next year's beer is. Too. So it's not always the
Oh.
double IPA. Last year was a pale ale.
All right.
Last year before that was the Kolsch.
I'm ordering my Mr. Beer kit.
Yeah. You have a year to get ready.
No,
You have-
for May 6th.
May 6th?
I'm coming.
You're a little.
It's gonna be fine. Don't worry
Okay,
about
fine. Great.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we're gonna drink Jass's terrible beer, and we're
gonna
gonna
be
hopefully find a good
awesome.
one in there.
That same weekend here is actually the Alamo GT,
Really good. Great.
which is going to be absolutely ridiculous. I think we have 139 registered players for that GT,
Really?
and it's a golden ticket tournament. So that is, if you win it, you go to the World Championships in Atlanta.
That's fantastic.
So it's going to be a hell of a weekend. We're going to see some of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
It's being broadcast live.
Really?
Oh,
that's so exciting.
yeah, I think it's War Games Live or whatever. It's a massive YouTube channel that broadcasts all the major GTs. So it is going to be a live broadcast.
Are you going to bring anyone into the studio to do
We
that?
are. We'll be using both the podcast and the live floor to be broadcasting that out.
Fuck, that's amazing.
We're going to be doing. I'm trying to get some interviews and stuff done during that weekend too with some of these players.
Great.
We have international players coming in, people coming in
That's
from all over the
so
country. So
freaking
should be a
cool.
lot of fun. Some beautiful armies going to be on display too.
Yeah.
I'm just
love
looking
that
forward to
too.
seeing the
Yeah.
hobby. The
Yeah.
hobby at work is going to be
Yeah,
awesome.
that's gonna be a lot of fun.
And if you want to see some of those beautiful armies and you want to try the Crisis,
Crisis will be available.
I have
Do you want
put
to go into the Crisis right now?
I have put Jim on the spot. You have said it's going to be ready.
It's going to be ready.
Why don't you hit the public with what the Crisis is?
So the Crisis is basically, you tell how we came up with the name of the Crisis. You go.
Okay, so in the fledgling days of Jim and I's friendship,
Romance.
bromance, that's what it's evolved into.
Heterosexual life mate? You mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gay, but look at him. I mean,
That's why it's heterosexual life mate.
yeah. I mean, I'd fuck you, but
I appreciate that.
yeah, 2 dads.
Anyway, the name.
Anyways, we had a trivia night actually here at my bar.
Yeah.
And we did a pint night with Second Pitch.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. A bunch of beer people showed up. It was my store was like a whopping 30 days old.
Yeah.
And a bunch of beer people showed up, and we drank a lot of beer. And we did this thing called Beer IQ, and it was a trivia night. And there was a question that came across that said, "Why was beer not canned until like the 1940s?"
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And the 3 answers were, aluminum shortage.
Yeah.
The
Aluminium. Something.
shape of the can or something like that. And then the third answer was the crisis. And that was it. There was no explanation.
Or what the crisis was.
It was just the crisis.
So Jass and I.
And so for months, it was just this inside joke between me, you, my wife, your wife, Paige.
Yeah.
The answer to everything was just like
the crisis.
why
Why didn't we do this get done? It was the crisis.
It was the crisis. And it was just, and so in the long passive prodding of me getting Jim to let me make a beer with him for my bar,
Yeah.
because we don't run on a hat structure, so I was like, well, an exclusive beer is kind of close to a big hat, so
Right. No. You can put the can on their head.
I finally got Jim to agree to do a beer, and he was like, well, we got to name it and whatever. And I was like, the Crisis. And I was like, and just make it as strong as possible, but I want it to taste like Biscoff cookies. And Jim went, no. That was
just like a big. I was a hard no.
yeah.
I was just
It wasn't
no.
even like a I don't know. It was just no.
No. Next question.
Yeah, it was a hard pass.
Which is, if you get to know me, that is my normal response to
Yeah.
anything. Is
So I
just a
finally got
hard
him
no.
when I asked him to do a beer for us. The first answer was no, but just, and I believe it was like you're just not big enough. But was actually the answer we got was, which really meant you're not important enough.
I didn't mean that.
But now I
Makes me
flirted
sound like
with
a
him
dick.
enough that he's willing to make me
You
a beer.
did.
So
You did.
so now we have the Crisis. So why don't you explain what
So the crisis, we
is?
did we wanted to make a ginormous beer, and me and my brewer were like kind of joking about one day, and we can do a double mash. So we basically take the wort that runs off of the mash, and we reuse it onto another bed of grain. to make even more sugars. And we were saying like we could do that. And so we did it. And that's when we decided that we were going to do this for Jas and the Christ because Jas was basically like, I want to have a beer that's like 18% and all this kind of nonsense. And so we figured out how to do it, and it turned out all right, I think. And we made this beer, and I basically went to Jas and I was like, fine, we'll make the Crisis. And then he was like, well, I want it to taste like Biscoff cookies. And I was like, no. And then he was like, talk to Paige, who is my QC manager, and was like, hey, Paige, can you tell Jim I wanted to be Biscoff cookies? And then Paige came to me and was like, hey, we're going to make it taste like this by using these ingredients. And I was like, fine, that makes sense. And then we made this beer, and it was a crisis when I made it.
I think your mind was, I wanted to make beer and then show up with cases of Biscoff cookies and pour them into your system.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And you were just like, there's no, absolutely not.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely
not doing this
no.
to my
Yeah,
system.
To my product.
But it wasn't that. It was, I wanted that flavor profile.
Right. And so we made this beer, and it was a pain in the dick.
It was a lot of fun, though.
It was a lot of fun. But as brew days go, it was a less than successful brew day.
No, it was a successful brew day. It was just twice as long as what brew days typically are.
So it was a less than successful brew day.
We got McDonald's.
We did get McDonald's. So, okay, it's a semi-successful brew day. I'm like, whenever we can have a Big Mac, and look up Jas on
also
TikTok for Big Macs.
Neither. Jesus. Don't do that. That thing has like over 2 million views.
I know. Everyone knows what a Big Mac is.
It's ridiculous. Anyways, also neither one of us had to do like the real backbreaking part.
No.
So
No.
I'm gonna call it a success.
I'm gonna call it a success.
It's not like we had to figure out how to filter that shit. Like it happened.
It happened. And it was hard. It was a good beer. And at the beginning, we were like, this might work. And then it became, it's not going to work. And then it became, we're going to have to dump this. And then it was wait, actually, we might not have to dump this. And now it's kind of been circling up. So it's a reverse bell curve on the life of this beer. It was like, oh, this is going to be great. This is not so good. This is terrible. I'm getting rid of it. To, this is not so bad. This might be good. Could it be good? It's good, maybe. And that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. So we're a couple of days out from the finishing touch to actually like what it would taste like if I pulled the handle and it went into.
I have no idea what it's going to be like.
So we've been checking it along the way.
But
the last check that I had on it was like a week ago.
Yeah. And we were all right with it.
And I wasn't mad at it.
Well, mad at it.
I wasn't mad at it.
It was not the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth.
Facts.
Are we gonna barrel age any of it?
Yeah.
For fun?
Yeah. For funsies.
For funsies.
It's that's what they're working on tomorrow.
It wasn't bad. I've had it, and I had it like a week ago at
warm.
Warm, no carbonation, no nothing. And I'm not gonna lie, if you'd poured me another one, I'd drink it.
I am cautiously optimistic on this beer.
Yeah. So
but it's gonna be out. It's gonna get you drunk. And it's going to taste like something new.
It is effective, and it definitely doesn't taste like anything else out there.
No, it doesn't.
It's like a barley wine.
It tastes like a barley wine, but it's a very different barley wine.
Yes. As far as like texture and tone, it's a barley wine. It doesn't taste like a barley wine. Like,
well, we could submit it to the U.S. Beer Open.
Ooh, I like this.
Think about that. So,
anyways,
we're getting the high sign.
So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff coming from both of our companies.
But if you have questions about, hey, I'm really into whatever, okay, drop the comment.
And we'll tell you on air, like, might be like, I really like the ancient Greeks. Go play Pergaraba.
Yeah, 100%. So, anyways, we appreciate you listening.
Thank you.
Go find either games, drinks, or hijinks, or do all three.
Do it at the same time.
All at the same time.
Be a multitasker. Be American.
Yeah, I like it. There it is. Overachieve.
Yeah. Overachieve.
Yeah.
Be you.
Be you. Yeah.
And where can you do all three?
Actually, at either one of our places. So you can either head over to Second Pitch Beer Company.
Yep.
Where you have games, I know, because you've gotten them from here. And
yeah,
your
right. Yeah.
There's drinks and hijinks that are going on there, and you can come to here at BattlePub.
There's drinks and games, and you can make hijinks.
Yep. And or battlepub.com and secondpitchbeer.com.
Yep.
All of the social medias, go do all of those things.
Yeah.
And until next time, cheers, folks.
Have
and we'll
fun.
catch you next time.
Bye.